The WWE Universe just witnessed an absolute shocker on Friday Night SmackDown as Chelsea Green has done the unthinkable and dethroned Giulia to become the new Women's United States Champion in what can only be described as one of the most intense battles we have seen in recent memory. This is not a drill, people. Chelsea Green, the woman who has been grinding and clawing her way through the women's division, finally has her moment of glory, and if you stick around till the very end of this video, I am going to break down every single detail of how this match unfolded and what this means for the entire SmackDown women's division moving forward. Make sure you hit that subscribe button right now because you do not want to miss any of the explosive content we have coming your way. The anticipation for this match was through the roof from the moment it was announced. Giulia had been on an absolute tear since capturing the Women's United States Championship, running through challenger after challenger with a level of dominance that made her seem almost unstoppable. She had defended the title against some of the toughest competitors in the division and walked away victorious every single time. Her striking ability combined with her submission expertise made her a nightmare for anyone who stepped into the ring with her. When Chelsea Green's name was announced as the next challenger, there were certainly doubters who questioned whether she could pull off what so many others had failed to accomplish. Chelsea Green has always been a controversial figure in the WWE landscape. Her career has been filled with ups and downs, injuries that kept her sidelined, and moments where it seemed like she would never get her big break. But anyone who has followed her journey knows that Chelsea possesses something special that cannot be taught. She has an unrelenting drive and a willingness to do whatever it takes to succeed. In the weeks leading up to this championship match, Chelsea made it crystal clear that she was not coming to SmackDown to make up the numbers. She cut promos that were dripping with confidence and intensity, claiming that Giulia's reign was living on borrowed time and that she was destined to walk out as champion. The match itself kicked off with both women circling each other in the center of the ring, the tension so thick you could cut it with a knife. The opening moments saw Giulia trying to use her striking game to establish dominance, throwing combinations that would have put down lesser opponents. Chelsea, however, showed remarkable ring awareness and defensive skills, dodging and weaving away from the most dangerous strikes while looking for openings to launch her own offensive attacks. The crowd was split down the middle with dueling chants echoing throughout the arena as both competitors fed off the energy. Giulia managed to take control first, backing Chelsea into the corner and unleashing a series of brutal kicks to the midsection that had the challenger doubled over in pain. The champion followed up with a snapmare takedown and a stiff kick to the spine that echoed through the arena and had everyone wincing in sympathy. Giulia was wrestling with the confidence of someone who had beaten everyone put in front of her, and for a few minutes, it looked like this might be another successful title defense. She went for an early cover, but Chelsea kicked out with authority, showing that she had plenty left in the tank. Chelsea started to fight back with everything she had, using her scrappy fighting style to claw her way back into the match. She caught Giulia with a jawbreaker that stunned the champion, followed by a series of forearm shots that backed Giulia up against the ropes. Chelsea then sent Giulia running with an Irish whip and caught her on the rebound with a perfectly timed dropkick that sent the champion crashing to the mat. The momentum had shifted and you could feel the energy in the building change as Chelsea started to believe this was her night. The middle portion of the match saw both women trading momentum back and forth in a display of competitive wrestling at its finest. Giulia would hit a big move and seemed to be on the verge of putting Chelsea away, only for the challenger to dig deep and find a way to survive. Chelsea would mount a comeback and have the crowd on their feet, only for Giulia to cut her off with a brutal strike or a well-timed counter. Neither woman was willing to give an inch and the physical toll of the battle was starting to show on both competitors. One of the most heart-stopping moments came when Giulia locked in her signature armbar submission, cranking back on Chelsea's arm with bad intentions. The referee was right there asking Chelsea if she wanted to quit, and for a moment it looked like the challenger might have no choice but to tap out. The pain was written all over Chelsea's face as she struggled against the hold, reaching desperately for the ropes that seemed miles away. The crowd was on their feet, some cheering for Giulia to finish it and others willing Chelsea to fight through the pain. In an incredible display of determination, Chelsea managed to roll through and stack Giulia up for a pin attempt that forced the champion to break the hold to avoid losing her title. Both women were visibly exhausted as the match entered its final stages, having thrown everything in their arsenal at each other with neither able to secure the definitive victory. Giulia looked frustrated for the first time in the match, perhaps realizing that Chelsea was not going to be an easy opponent to put away. The champion decided to go for broke, climbing to the top rope to attempt a high-risk maneuver that could potentially end the match. This decision would prove to be costly as Chelsea recovered just in time to meet her on the top turnbuckle. What followed was a sequence that had everyone in the arena holding their breath. Both women were fighting for position on the top rope, throwing strikes at each other while trying to maintain their balance. Chelsea managed to get the better of the exchange and set Giulia up for a superplex, a move that would surely cause damage to both competitors. The execution was perfect as both women crashed to the mat with sickening impact, the ring shaking from the force of two bodies hitting the canvas. The referee began his count as both women lay motionless, the physical toll of the match clearly evident. Chelsea was the first to stir, crawling towards Giulia to make a cover that everyone thought would be the end. The referee's hand came down once, then twice, but somehow Giulia managed to get her shoulder up before the 3 count, keeping her championship hopes alive. Chelsea could not believe it, staring at the referee in disbelief before pounding the mat in frustration. She knew she had to finish this soon because the longer the match went, the more chance there was for something to go wrong. The challenger pulled herself up using the ropes, measuring Giulia, who was slowly getting back to her feet. Chelsea signaled for her finishing move, the crowd noise reaching a fever pitch as everyone sensed the end was near. She grabbed Giulia and attempted to hit her finisher, but the champion had it scouted and managed to slip out at the last second. Giulia countered with a devastating head kick that caught Chelsea flush on the jaw and sent her stumbling backwards. The champion saw her opening and went for her own finishing maneuver, but Chelsea showed incredible ring presence by rolling through and avoiding the impact. In the chaos that followed, Chelsea caught Giulia with a surprise roll-up pin attempt that nearly ended the match. When that didn't work, she transitioned immediately into a small package, showing veteran savvy in trying to catch the champion off guard. Giulia kicked out of that as well, but the constant close calls were starting to take their toll mentally. Both women were running on pure adrenaline at this point, their bodies battered and bruised from the grueling contest. The finish came in a way that nobody saw coming. Chelsea ducked under a strike from Giulia and hit the ropes for momentum. As she came back, she launched herself at Giulia with a desperation move that connected perfectly, stunning the champion. Before Giulia could recover, Chelsea hooked her up and executed her signature finisher with precision, planting Giulia in the center of the ring. The crowd erupted as Chelsea hooked both legs for the cover, the referee sliding into position to make the count. 1, 2, 3, and it was over. Chelsea Green had done it. She had defeated Giulia and become the new Women's United States Champion. The arena exploded with noise as the referee called for the bell and handed Chelsea the championship title. The emotion was overwhelming as Chelsea clutched the belt to her chest, tears streaming down her face as years of frustration and disappointment melted away in one glorious moment. She had finally reached the mountaintop after so many setbacks and injuries that would have ended lesser careers. This was vindication for every person who had ever doubted her abilities or questioned whether she belonged at the top level of WWE competition. Giulia, to her credit, showed incredible sportsmanship in defeat. After taking a moment to process what had just happened, she pulled herself up and approached Chelsea. The two women stood face to face in the center of the ring, the respect between them evident despite the competitive fire that had burned throughout their match. Giulia extended her hand and Chelsea accepted, the two embracing in a show of mutual respect that had the crowd applauding both competitors. The implications of this title change are enormous for the SmackDown women's division. Chelsea Green as champion opens up a world of new possibilities and fresh matchups that have the WWE Universe buzzing with excitement. Who will step up as the next challenger? Will Giulia invoke her rematch clause? What about the other women on the roster who have been waiting for their opportunity to shine? The landscape has completely shifted and the women's division is now more unpredictable than ever before. Chelsea's journey to the top has been anything but conventional. She has faced criticism, dealt with injuries, and had to fight tooth and nail for every opportunity that came her way. There were times when it seemed like the WWE Universe had written her off, times when even the most optimistic fan questioned whether she would ever get her moment. But Chelsea never stopped believing in herself, never stopped working to improve her craft, and never stopped fighting for her dream. This championship victory is the culmination of years of hard work and perseverance, and it serves as an inspiration to anyone who has ever been told they are not good enough. The celebration continued long after the match ended, with Chelsea soaking in every second of her championship moment. She climbed every turnbuckle, holding the title high above her head as the crowd showered her with cheers. This was her time, her moment, and nobody could take it away from her. The image of Chelsea Green standing tall with the Women's United States Championship will be one that fans remember for years to come, a testament to what can be achieved when talent meets opportunity and determination refuses to accept defeat. If you enjoyed this breakdown and want to stay updated on all the latest WWE news, championship changes, and exclusive content, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a moment of the action we bring you every single day.